Time for two more?
Yes!
Welcome back, 9 to noon into the final hour on the vast and ever-expanding 9 to noon audio network. And here's one of my favorites. His name's Mike Trudell, Minnesotan Mike Trudell. He's an Orono High School graduate who, for many years, has been the sideline reporter for the L.A. Lakers on TV, along with a host and an analyst. And he has multiple Twitter spots, but at Lakers Reporter is a place to go to learn more about this. And here comes Mike. What's going on, my brother? 908 out in the Southland. If you're there, I know you were at the Knicks over the weekend. Are you back in Southern California?
Back in Los Angeles, PA. It is always great to hear your voice. Do I get to just ask you Vikings questions for 20 minutes, or is that a different time?
Well, when we trade Justin Jefferson to a team in the NFC, and Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, is not told, and the player that you're getting back significantly older than the player that we're giving up, yeah, maybe we can talk about that sometime, but that's not the case as of now.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
So, and you know what? Outside of the covenant for a second, the obvious talker, I've never asked you this. Soccer star at Orono High School, played soccer at Northwestern. Yep, that one, the Big Ten, not the one Billy Graham started in St. Paul. And you became an accomplished sideline reporter in the glitziest market in the NBA for years. How did all that happen?
Well, first of all, I learned a lot from you when I was in Minnesota working for the Timberwolves, and learned a lot from a lot of people in Minnesota with the Timberwolves. They gave me shots, BA, to just go out and do a million podcasts and video interviews. I had KG my first year there in the 2006-07 season. Then they traded him for Al Jefferson and a bunch of guys. Not the best trade, but that's fine. We won't go back over that now. So learned a lot there, and then basically just transitioned all that out to Los Angeles. So I'm basically giving you credit. I think that's where I really saw the light as to what I could be in the professional industry.
You're overly kind, and I love you. However, soccer star at Orono, soccer at Northwestern, NBA for a living. I mean, what happened to the MLS or the Premier League or La Liga or something like that?
Oh, good soccer talk from you there. Yeah, I mean, so I also played basketball and baseball, right, in high school. And so I fell in love, PA, probably like a lot of people my age, with Bob Costas, with Marv Albert, with the NBA on NBC, and the packages that they would do heading ahead of the finals. Mm-hmm. And since we didn't have a team when I was a little kid, right, I was born in 81, the Wolves didn't start until like 89, I got hooked on Michael Jordan, and WGN came into my house. We didn't even have cable, but I could watch all of the Bulls games. So that was kind of my first passion that I wanted to follow and become a sports broadcaster. So I always had that idea of getting to the NBA and covering it. But I do love me some soccer, and, you know, Manchester United is my squad. So that, again, J.J. McCarthy, Vikings, that's one. Manchester United, we'll put that to the side. But I'm sure that you do want to hear a little bit about Luka Doncic and the whole trade thing.
I do.
I don't want to get you too distracted.
No, we're good. But OGs, I mean, it's the Fires, all right? And you know what? I trivialized things to start. So let me start with a Regions A topic, even if you got 5 seconds to talk about it or 5 minutes. Did those fires impact your covenant at all? And is all of the Southland officially in bounce back mode after those fires?
Yeah, so we just got back in town, PA. The Lakers went on a 5-game road trip that actually technically concludes tomorrow with a road game against the Clippers. But so we were gone for the last week and change, and from the time that we left to the time that we got back, it rained a bunch. The fires were 100% contained, so
Good.
Things seem to be pretty good right now. The place that we live, you know, as you know, PA, spending some time out here, LA is a massive city. If you include Orange County, there are like 17 million people just in the close-ish vicinity. So we're pretty decently far south of where the fires actually happened. We're kind of down in the South Bay area, like Redondo Beach, Manhattan Beach, just south of the LAX airport. If you go in the other direction, the same distance though, just 4 or 5 miles, that's kind of Santa Monica, Malibu. That's where everything was happening, and then extending east into Pasadena and Altadena. So, like, while we weren't, you know, the fires we weren't really worried that they were going to actually get all the way down to this point, but there's ash all over the street, right, in our house. Like, the air was not good for a long time. Kids had to wear masks and couldn't go outside of recess. And I think that, the hardest part is that we have some friends out there, several of whom lost their homes. And so that's kind of been the focus, I think, for those of us that aren't directly affected in terms of losing what we have for our property. But what can we drive up to our friends? What can we do for the kids that had their school burned down? What can we figure out, like in getting my boys to get a bunch of their baseball cards together for a couple of my wife's friends who lost their homes, that kind of stuff. So it's been a rally around the flag effort and a community effort. And I know that coming from a place like Minneapolis, where it's such a great, close-knit community, that part has been cool to see, that everybody coming together and trying to figure out a way to help each other through some tough times.
There you go, Michael. Amen. Very, very well stated. Thank you for that. Mike Trudell, sideline reporter, much more for the LA Lakers. And now Mike and others get to cover Luka Doncic. You get to cover Luka Doncic. How much did all of that catch you off guard, including Anthony Davis heading to Dallas?
100% off guard. So, PA, I was on the bus back from Madison Square Garden. We're driving through the streets of Manhattan, and all of a sudden the alert came through. And this was so quiet that even the people on the bus, and these are the coaches, these are some of the the people that work around the team, was just total shock. And I think at that point it was trying to figure out a way to process it. Max Christie was actually on that bus that I got off of. And then Max Christie was an emerging young 21-year-old two-way wing as a part of this trade. And Anthony Davis actually wasn't with the team because he got hurt in Philadelphia and went home to start rehabilitating the injury. So he wasn't there. But it was a total shockwave, 100%. There was nobody that was expecting this. And I think that as you probably got the alert too and started texting all of your friends, my phone basically lit on fire at that point, and I almost had to find a sewer to distinguish the flames as I was getting off the bus. But it was a crazy night, and I think I went to sleep at about 6 a.m. We woke up to get on a bus at 9 to fly back to Los Angeles. So crazy time for sure. But I totally get it, certainly from the Lakers' perspective, as to why they had to do it. As great as Anthony Davis was, as strong of a player as Max Christie may turn out to be, but this is Luka Doncic. And
Mike, I must concede, yesterday morning when this started popping up in my phone, it's either people texting me or I saw a headline on social media, Luka. I'm not kidding you. I thought it was Luka Garza. I mean, I was like, so the Wolf, what? Who? I mean, I know he's played a little bit of late, but what?
Yeah, he's getting a little burn. He's got the 3-point stroke evolving a little bit.
Right.
He can pump and drive a little. I like me some Luka Garza.
Yeah, I mean, what do we get? Alex Caruso and 5 seconds to be named later or something? I mean, I thought it was nondescript. But obviously it was Doncic, Christie, like you said, the two-way kid with 3 and D. But why? Yeah. Just I think I know the answer to this, but you're an elite basketball mind. You're right next to the team, man. And by the way, they looked really good against the Lakers. LeBron with that triple-double. Why would you guess the Lakers made this move?
Well, so PA, the way that it was described, and the Lakers actually haven't gotten to do the press conference yet. We'll see when that happens. I'm not sure if it'll be tomorrow or whatever.
Yep.
But Dallas already spoke about it, and so we got to hear sort of the perspective from the Mavericks and like how it developed, and it sounded like it was just basically Nico, their top executive, talking to Rob Pelinka. And over the course of a couple of weeks, they kept talking, and it got a little closer. And we'll see if Pelinka shares that same way that it evolved. And I just think from a Lakers standpoint, so I got here in 2008, and Kobe Bryant, the first year that I came here, they won the title. Then they won the title again the next year. And a lot of that happened because they traded for Pau Gasol to join alongside Kobe Bryant. And then after Kobe wins those 2 titles, eventually he has the 60-point game, he retires, in comes LeBron James. And this has been the way, Paul Allen, of the Lakers. There has always been that next star. It almost seems like a birthright out here. And I don't take it for granted as somebody that came from Minnesota, and my entire time living there, we had one star. His name was Kevin Garnett, and he will always be in my Mount Rushmore, my personal one of guys that I got to cover and guys that I got to see. And now the thing I'm excited about for Minnesota, though, you got another one in Ant. And so that's great. But the Lakers always seem to get one of those guys, and not just a guy, but a top 5 guy in the league. Luka Doncic, 5 straight All-NBA first teams from the ages of 19 to 24. unprecedented. So it's, to me, that is the answer. And as amazing as Anthony Davis was, he's about to turn 32, Luka's 25. You sort of see it from that context. So you say, thank you very much to Anthony Davis, but when it's Luka Doncic that can come in and potentially not just give the team a chance to win now, Paul, but be that franchise, that next anchor, that next guy that you're envisioning his jersey up in the rafters one day next to LeBron and Anthony Davis's. That's where it makes the most sense.
I get it. But now you've triggered me to ask you this. With Mike Trudell, Orono High School go crazy, sideline reporter, LA Lakers on TV, Minnesota Mike's the bomb. So your personal covering Mount Rushmore. You said Kevin Garnett. You're right next to LeBron James. I'm going to put him on it. And you covered Kobe Bryant. So I got those three right there. Is number 4 former Minnesota Thunder striker Amos McGee?
Love me some Amos McGee. How did you know? I played on the Minnesota Thunder kind of developmental team for one summer when I was coming back from college. And so, yeah, Amos McGee, definitely a legend. It's between him and Anthony Davis and Pau Gasol, and I think Luka will be fighting for it, but there will never will be removed Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, and LeBron James. It's just, that's not possible, really, for me in my lifetime. But that fourth spot is between Amos and, Tony Sane and Manuel Lagos and Gerard Lagos. Those guys are all in contention for that spot.
And Buzz Lagos coaching that whole team. Oh, wow. Down memory lane we go.
And also Justin Guard. Yeah. That's a guy, that's a fellow that I'm very fond of. So, he's in contention too.
No doubt. Runs through the forehand, 2-time state champion of tennis at Edina. Yeah, you're hearkening right now, and I love it. So, obviously, not speaking for the Mavericks, but you're an elite basketball mind. So, what about Dallas? Why do you think Dallas would want to make this move? I actually think Dallas has as good a chance of winning the championship this year as it did previously in the current state of Luka, but I may be wrong.
PA, one of my missions these last several years in being up and close and personal to the league in this way, and certainly from a Lakers standpoint, I just think that Anthony Davis is a lot better than the collective might think. He is a monster on both ends of the court, and we can get into a whole Rudy Gobert Defensive Player of the Year thing. I think that AD is a superior defender. They have similar numbers at the rim, and AD can switch out onto any point guard or wing that you want. He can do any pick and roll coverage you want. There's never a time that you want to take him off the floor. And then on the other end of the floor, he averages over 25 points on 55% from the field, which only basically Jokic and Embiid can do from an offensive perspective as a big man. So he, to me, PA is much closer to the 5th or 6th best player in the NBA than what he is probably considered to be, which is, I don't know, people might think somewhere between 10 and 15. But to me, so that right there, I think is the first part of the narrative where, I'm not saying that he's in that top, like the Luka, Jokic, LeBron, Giannis, Shea. I get that as the primary creator, which does have the most value, but AD is so good at everything in basketball. So that's the first place that you start. And I think that other than that, and this is just really just speculating, there's been some reporting on this about what Dallas was thinking, but perhaps PA, maybe they thought that Luka was going to leave at some point. And that's, I don't know that they're going to say that explicitly, but that to me would be the reason that you even consider calling any team, about a guy that's 25 and has made 5 All-NBA first teams. You do not see that. So that was the only thing that I could think that they ultimately thought that maybe he was going to bounce. All
right, hardcore basketball with time for a couple more. Your bigs, the Lakers bigs, unless I'm missing something. Hachimura, Jackson Hayes, Vanderbilt. Obviously they feel cool with all that, right?
I do think that is the most logical thing that could happen next is for the Lakers to find a way to add to the front court, to add a center. In the meantime, can you get by with Jackson Hayes catching lobs from either LeBron or Luka? Sure, but that defensive presence isn't quite the same. And their backups to Jackson Hayes in the front court are right now two-way players. So on a two-way contract with the South Bay Lakers, Trey Jemison III, and I don't need to get too into that, but Christian Koloko, these are names that I'm guessing that, out in Edina and Orono maybe aren't really on the radar. So that could be a spot in the roster that the Lakers try to address as they get up to the trade deadline. But, as you know from watching him play some in Minnesota, Vanderbilt has helped a lot defensively on the perimeter, which therefore has helped the rim some. So you get him, you trade for Dorian Finney-Smith, you get these big athletic wings. I would liken that to an extent to Jaden McDaniels, right? Like having a couple players like McDaniels really goes a long way for your defense. So but there's no doubt, PA, as you being a great basketball mind just anticipated, I wouldn't be surprised if they were looking around to see if there was a big available.
And lastly, Madison Square Garden, Saturday, caught some of it. How about LeBron? I mean, 33 on 14 of 26, ended with a triple-double. He's nowhere near the end, is he?
Well, it's really hard to contemplate because, when LeBron came here years ago, it was like 7 years ago, I was already totaling up his combined regular season and playoff minutes, and it was like third all-time at that point. He's played 4,000 more playoff minutes than number 2, which is Michael Jordan.
Wow.
I think it's like 10,000 to 6,000 or 7,000, something like that. So the sheer volume that he's been on the court is mind-boggling, and to have him still be this impactful, it really is unprecedented. But I guess, PA, I would say, like, he is... So he's the best athlete his whole life, right? He's kind of just body chiseled from the gods, best athlete. Then he's one of the smartest, and then he works the hardest, and then he takes care of his body. So if anybody was going to do it, it would be LeBron James. That would be the one that I guess that's the one that I'm least surprised that would do it, but it's still pretty remarkable to see him play at this level. And I think that the last point I would make about him, having Luka come now to be able to take some of that offensive load and save a little bit more for LeBron to make low man rotations in the fourth quarter and to have a little bit more on defense, that to me is a way that the Lakers could be pretty dangerous in a playoff series.
Really?
Where Luka's doing enough now that LeBron's got a little bit more for everything else.
Really, really like that take. Hadn't thought of that part. I mean, if and/or when Dallas and your Lakers meet in the postseason, how unbelievable is that going to be?
Yeah, and look, this is the thing about the West, though, and I think about this from a Wolves standpoint. There isn't a series that you could point to that isn't going to be great right now in the Western Conference. Like, all of the teams in the top 10 have exciting stars or exciting young players. It's going to be a gauntlet. And I think from the Lakers' question is, how do you, LeBron, you're 22. Can you sustain through to get to all the way to the finals? This is not Anthony Edwards, who right now could. Well, I was going to say he could just keep running forever. I know that sometimes it gets a little tired in the fourth quarter, but we're working on that. It's going to keep getting better. Love Ant. So that's the part of it. Like, can you keep up with the Anthony Edwardses of the world and in the Tatum and Browns, right, who are in their late 20s and make that run? And I just wonder how much, Luka being here, and we saw what happened with Gobert in that series in the conference finals last year. We wonder how much that can re-energize LeBron to an extent. While acknowledging PA, you're really going to be missing Anthony Davis, to me, the best defensive player in the league, with apologies to Webby coming fast.
Unfair for Anthony Edwards to catch a stray in that whole equation. Unfair, Mr. Trudell.
I love him. I'm like, how can he be tired? He's like one of the greatest athletes of the world. Like, I want the most from him. Yeah. I want all NBA first team. And by the way, he has been grinding these last couple of weeks. He's taking his game up, PA, a whole nother level, and I'm loving it. I'm loving watching it. He's amazing.
I'm loving whenever I get a chance to see you on television with a League Pass, and I appreciate the contribution on a very busy day for you, Mr. Trudell. God bless you and your family, and have a great day, man. Let's stay in touch, all right?
Always a pleasure, and hello to the greatest state in the land, Minnesota. Will be my home forever.
Amen. Thank you, Michael. Bye-bye. Mike Trudell. Orono High School go crazy. Sideline reporter for the Los Angeles Lakers on the TV, talking about Luka, AD, and Luka. It's 11:27 into the penultimate on this blustery and cloudy Monday in the cornfields, and here comes Nardo.
The Fan wants to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. This hour's keyword is bonus. Think about getting a $1,000 bonus just by using the keyword bonus at KFAN.com.
Hurts falling for the football. Hurts going to throw. He's back. He fires. He completes it. Touchdown!
That's the matchup I like.
Hurts. Quarterback draw. He's at the 5. He is in for the touchdown. Jalen Hurts.
I guess his leg's all right.
Jalen does a little dance.
ELGS. Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
Let's go, Bear. Let's go Birds.
Yeah, let's go Rudy Gobert.
Well, let's go Con. Let's go Nordo, producer of 9 to Noon, and here's why. Is the Super Bowl, the fan has learned the Super Bowl on the Minnesota Vikings audio network. The Super Bowl is a football game.
It's got a good ring to it.
We carry Minnesota Vikings football on the vaster and ever-expanding audio network. So the Super Bowl, of course, would be carried here. Why wouldn't it? Wintersville sounds better in FM for either the Eagles or the Chiefs. So last week on the Friday Football Feast, and you probably, if you're dedicated to KFAN under 9 to Noon, you've probably heard me say it a couple of times, including today. I dig the Eagles, and here's why. I think they're going to win by multiple scores, 2 scores or more. Paul Charchian had his opinions at the Feast on Friday. Adam Kaplan, who's based in Philadelphia, he's a big-time NFL insider. He also has more Eagles fan to him than super special, journalistically inclined reporter wants to share. Because I'm like, do you see any way Philadelphia can win this game by multiple scores? I mean, he was basically like, are you out of your mind? Are you an idiot? No. I mean, I know who they have. I understand the personnel. And is this probable? No. But that's why you turn if you hit it the right way, you turn $1 into 15, if you know what I mean. Doesn't mean it's a cinch, but nevertheless, he likes it to be a 3-point game either way. But what about the Con? What about the man on the other side of the glass here at the 651 Carpets Plus Studios? I mean, not only is he an elite football mind, but he has opinions. And sometimes in the we love to hear ourselves talk business, mad producer has an opinion or two that gets shut out. So I just, yours truly feels this is a wonderful, wonderful time to have a wonderful, wonderful man, husband, and father lay out who he likes in this Super Bowl and why. And maybe most importantly, when he's fueling up the Jeep to head south.
I always love that one.
First of all, I got to laugh, and I love Adam Kaplan. I absolutely love him, and he has been joining this radio show. It feels like 20 years now, long certainly before I joined 9 to Noon. But when he hits you with, so what are you feeling in this game? I like the Philadelphia Eagles, maybe by multiple possessions, and he hits you with, well, I'm going to wait until Thursday to pick. It's like, whoa!
Right.
With the right to change it.
Yeah, and he knows who he likes and why.
100% he does.
But see, he's looking at it the way, I love Adam, man. We've been friends for nearly every day I've been on this radio station. He's based in Philly. But there with this reporter, with this NFL insider thing or insider thing of anything,
yeah,
it's just kind of a level of self-importance there that, you think, like, if I tell them who I like to win the Super Bowl and why, well, what's our next move? Tweet machine, breaking, and it's like it's gonna change his Thursday plan. Well, A, we never do that, period, for anybody, including ourselves. B, that wouldn't happen. And C, even if it did, it probably wouldn't get to profootballtalk.com, so let's not worry about that.
What is it? It's like a gender reveal. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's like a big game. We could be right. We could be wrong.
This gender reveal, one balloon is green, the other balloon is red.
Yeah.
And boom, that's so super special.
I don't know if Eagles, would it be a forest green? Is it a Kelly green?
I think it's Hunter green.
Hunter green.
But I'll look it up.
That's the route I'm going right now. I'm going with the team that has 6.5 yards of carry over the last 3 playoff games. They're so explosive on the ground. We've seen the long touchdowns. And, there's multiple aspects of this because we talk about Trey Smith and, going back to Kaplan again.
It's called midnight green, which with the chickens, well, they made up a color.
Yeah, they did.
Like their green is some action something it's not in the Crayola box.
It's an eyesore is what it is.
Okay, I opened the Crayola box for Billy, Johnny, Christy, Susie, Antoine, or Tamika. Can't find midnight green. Now they're all crying because they love Jalen Hurts.
Did you uncover a conspiracy
nice job, Howie Roseman.
with Big Art? Like Big Art and the NFL combining so that they can expand the number of crayons in a box by making up colors for NFL teams?
Yeah. And by the way, closed circuit to Crayola.
Big Art.
This is Crayola's kids' diversion immortality.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't nobody ever using the bronze crayon or the copper. we're never using burnt orange. Maybe occasionally. We ain't using copper or bronze.
Well, burnt, it all ends up kind of looking brown.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
How many shades, gray. I've never used a white crayon. What am I using a white crayon for?
Right, and when you teach us to mix obscure colors, mix obscure things, well, little did you know that could be the first step to becoming like the real-life lead character in Breaking Bad.
I always love that one.
Mixing concoctions. Who are you, Miss Bradbury?
Well, mixing concoctions is what the Eagles moving company does, because no matter what they do, they're moving forward, PA. Because Kaplan hit us with that number on Trey Smith, $20 million a year. Well,
Cap also said Juergens and like their hurt offensive linemen, doing quite well
into the big game. So their preferred lineup with Juergens and
they don't get it, we do,
and Dickerson on the left side. Dickerson just got a pretty penny to be that left guard situation. Trey Smith might be the free agent treasure chest, but all teams, including ours, we need to be looking at what the Philly has done over the course of time with that group. I mean, they're poised to limit Chris Jones. They have to limit Karlaftis. That's going to be kind of the interesting mix on Sunday in terms of how creative Spags gets with Chenal, Bolton, and Tranquil. He has blitzed all of them at various times throughout the season, sending an extra guy. But if you limit them, Jalen's now got Devontae. He's got A.J. Brown. He has Goddard. That's where there's some basics to this, very surface-level rubidity involved. The Eagles have, and I have to say from top to bottom, save for the quarterback, if you just look at these two teams, the Eagles have by far the most talented roster in the NFL, and that includes this particular matchup against this particular team. Now, the two advantages the Chiefs have, they're pretty big points, the quarterback and the head coach. So that's kind of the balance of how you look at things into the weekend. The flow of this game, though, the key for the Chiefs, if they want a three-peat, and what they've done throughout the years is unbelievable, no doubt. But the domination of time of possession with the Eagles, time of possession in 12 of their 17 regular season games. They won TOP in all 3 of their playoff games, scoring early, forcing people to chase, all of those things. What I'm curious about is, can Patrick Mahomes in this Chiefs offense, and when I say can they, well, they probably do anything with Mahomes. But the Eagles can run a 17-play drive on you without breaking a sweat. Can the Chiefs, if they're trailing, score explosively and quickly? Because it feels like, they can control the ball, put points up, obviously. But if they need to run a 6-play, 75-yard drive on you, can they? Can they outside of Xavier Worthy? Can Travis Kelce, who's kind of been muted in this postseason run, can he show up and give you that 10 for $120? Can Juju Smith-Schuster, can he find his way to that massive play, that massive, so now we're starting to talk about the Noah Grays. We're starting to look at the Justin Watsons and it's DeAndre Hopkins, latter stages of his career.
Yes, sir.
Can they get explosive with those guys? And on the outset of this, I kind of say no at this stage. So it's Worthy and how they can mix him in with that speed and that burst. And so if they're trailing early, the chasing and holding onto the ball, and if they have to score quickly, can they? And if the Chiefs can't run, I don't think they can win. The Bills game was a shootout. They got loose on the ground, but it was Mahomes with 40-plus rushing yards in that game that really won them the game.
Yeah.
The Pacheco bit ain't working, and Kareem Hunt can be smooth and productive at 5 and 6 yards a clip, but he's not getting those massive long yardage chunks. And so on paper, again, most talented roster in the NFL, save for the QB, specifically in this matchup. I love the Eagles and their ability to not only frustrate Mahomes defensively early, but if they have any sort of a lead, that run game is it's too lethal. And so I like the Eagles in this game. Not quite as confidently. You were running it up the flagpole a bit.
Yeah. You
were running it up there with the 3.5.
I'll go 7.5 as the max.
And see, that's set.
Might be too greedy.
That hook for me is a lot.
Yeah.
When you look at how this game flow might work out, I don't look at it. I could get myself to 6.5 or 7.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm kind of sitting with this game. I think ultimately Mahomes is going to be in that spot to potentially have that touchdown drive for a three-peat. But I like the Eagles. The talent is despite any dysfunction that took place during the season. I like the Birds too much in this one.
My for Kansas City and the way Kansas City is constructed, if Philadelphia trucks the champs early, and I'm not even talking turnovers. I'm not even playing that game. I mean, if anybody has not seen of late Saquon Barkley being like a human turnover equalizer, quick strike, whatever. Yep. I mean, this thing can be a 2-score game in 3.5 minutes.
Correct.
If Kansas City's not careful.
And Kansas City is not a punch you in the face right away team.
And that's the other side of it.
It's the third, fourth possession. It's second and third quarters where they get those wheels turning, and they win a lot of games that way. This is an entirely different animal with Philly and Saquon.
So that as an underdog, and me believing if somebody is going to get smacked early, it's more apt to be KC than Philadelphia.
I agree with that.
Now, if Andy Reid with that extra week, I mean, if he comes out, here we got McCall Hardman over here, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kelsey on plays you haven't seen, Hunt on wheel routes they forgot about. If they're going to go lickety-split racehorse hockey up and down the field, they will break the tendencies and the protocol of what has played into them getting there.
Yeah.
Where if the Eagles throw deep, run short. Here's Gainwell on the third play of the game. What's happening? Oh, play action off him. Quick hitter to Goddard, who just got you 7. Back in comes Saquon, but they spread 4 wide, and now you got to pay attention to them, and he gets a seam, and he's gone. So you're 5 plays into it, you're down 7-0. Then you go 6 and out. Well, then you get it back, and Elliott hits from 40, and you got 9:28 to go in the first quarter, and you're down 10-0. That can happen more likely, in my opinion, than Kansas City doing the same thing to the Eagles.
Yep, totally with you on
I
that.
just want to see what Kansas City is like, if it comes to fruition, playing from 2 scores down in the second half of a game and not being a quick strike, lickety-split, 370, 45 type offense. That maybe won't happen. All right, final thoughts around the corner, KFAN. Deep stretch of the 9 to noon radio show. Your good times leader. That's coming up around the corner into the program with Dan Cole, the common man. And sports, the sports 1 and 1A. Now it's kind of 1B. This Monday, it's a Monday, and it just kind of bowled us over 9 to noon wise. Saturday, we know Ant's not playing. We know Julius isn't playing, and we just saw Nas leave the game. But the Wiz? 16 consecutive?
Yeah, man.
But the Wiz?
Gotta beat the Wiz.
They got 2 dogs. You got 2 dogs. Kuzma and Valanciunas. No, Jordan Poole's not a dog.
He's not a dog?
He's talented, but he ain't a dog.
What about Corey Kispert?
No, he ain't a dog either. Nobody knows who he is or cares about him. But they got 2 guys, man. We couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
So we took an L. Snapped a losing streak to a team that I think has had 2 16-game losing streaks in the same season. And then Luka to L.A., AD, Anthony Davis to Dallas. Well, that's a massive, massive story. Super Bowl's the A topic, 9 to noon. And then you're just, trying to get through your day, watching TV, listening to KFAN, looking at social media. And Myles Garrett writes a goodbye letter to the Cleveland Browns saying, I want to be traded. Yeah. Holy cow, the calm. Kevin Stefanski.
I wonder how they there's no coming back from that, right? That
could be.
Once you put the post out, because I know Andrew Berry, Schefter even kind of said they've been on the grind and communications are ongoing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you come back from a goodbye Cleveland post, though.
I don't really care unless he comes here. But the Bears.
Might have to adjust the scheme, though, PA.
Well, I'm looking. The Chicago Bears have 3 of the top 41 picks in the draft. And I'm being serious when I say this. The Chicago Bears have 3 of the top 41 picks in the draft.
Yeah.
The Browns are strapped with everything. And the Bears have 3 of the top 41 picks in the draft. Keep that in mind, okay? Andy Reid, by the way, 28-3 off a bye when the other team is not. Now, the Eagles are off a bye. So I'm trying to figure this thing out, point spread and against just straight up and everything. But bottom line, 9 to noon cannot forget how good Andy Reid is off a bye.
Fair.
How different he is.
Fair.
So we have more thinking to do. And that's what we're known for, right? Right? In the Brain Scholar, in the Brain Surgery Covenant. Paul Allen, bye-bye.
If it's good news or money, leave a message.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.